So basically we're just pulling together whatever we had in the cabinet to go with the spices and the sauces that we've got to work with. I keep a lot of different rice on hand, so I am using sushi rice, so we'll have a nice sticky one to go with this broccoli that I had in the fridge. And once that's all good, we will glaze the chicken so that we can make our little teriyaki bowls. And then we will get started on these mashed potatoes, and we're gonna have all of it kind of going together at one time. So I'm using the 1 cup rice, 2 cups water method. I know Jake has a different method that he likes that involves measuring with your finger, but that never works out for me. So I've got my rice ready here, and I decided to blanch my broccoli in ice water so it would stay green because Jake is not done cooking the chicken. And so I figured I'd make a little sauce to go on the broccoli. Since we're playing around with yuzu, I pulled out some ponzu, which is like citrus, almost soy-ish. And usually you balance something like soy with mirin, which is a rice wine. I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. And just for a little hint of funk, a little bit of fish sauce. I try not to go too overboard with it, but it's going really slowly with the drops. And give it some heat with some sriracha. And we're already playing around with hot sauce, so why not give it a little bit of punch? I think that looks pretty good. It smells really nice. Yeah, because we have the sweet teriyaki for the chicken. This is going to go on the broccoli at the last minute, and it's going to balance it out.
Okay, so we're going to have this remote burner here because we don't have gas otherwise. It's a perfect thing to use for a wok. Use canola oil or vegetable oil because it can take the heat, and that's going to cook very fast.
We also have the area well ventilated.
It's well ventilated. Large area is best if your ventilation is lacking a little. We're not in a restaurant kitchen, so we don't have the huge vents, but we can get this place pretty well vented. The door's right there, so look at that, already nice and hot. We're gonna cook this chicken, and after it's cooked, we're gonna add the barbecue sauce. But let's cook this chicken up first. Look at that. That is ready. Again, this took seconds to get the wok hot. And make sure you don't let it sit and burn.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you guys in for a close-up so we can finish out the chicken with the barbecue sauce. We did this in 2 batches, so we didn't overcrowd the wok. Now Jake's gonna toss in a good amount of the teriyaki. So we're gonna glaze it with teriyaki chicken. A little confusion part of it, where you've got the teriyaki and the barbecue. Isn't that look delicious? And we're just gonna cook it on there for a little bit, and then we'll be able to assemble our rice bowl.
Assemble our bowls. I get a little rice. Just enough to coat the bottom. Like so. Gotta add the sauce that Amber made earlier to the broccoli. And put a couple of pieces, a couple of 3 pieces maybe, of the broccoli on the rice. Maybe one more for size. And then a few pieces of chicken. Look at that sauce. Let's see here. Well, get one that wants to come out. There we are. There you go.
So Jake's already browned off the meat and he's added onion to it. And then he's gonna add a few other things. We got some garlic, we got some chili powder, we got some salt. And then we're gonna add some more of that hot sauce. Just enough until everything mixes in and we get a nice color. It's starting to get through.
So I want quite enough chili hot sauce. So we're gonna add a little more, probably twice as much as we added previously, actually, and get a little bit of seasoning into this thing because there we go.
Yeah,
you see it glazing now.
We're replacing those canned chilies, so it does need a little liquid and a little heat.
Kind of shiny now. Look at that. That's a bit better.
Taco meat.
Forgot one of the most important taco seasoning ingredients: cumin, ground cumin.
Okay.
So actually, this thing's almost empty because we use a lot of cumin. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that smells really nice.
Yeah, now it smells like the taco.
It goes well with that hot sauce.
It does. Nicely mixed it in. Don't want any flavor, of course.
So before we assemble our tacos, I wanted to make a little topping for it. So I decided to lean into the citrus flavors that we have in the hot sauce. And I squeezed a little bit of fresh orange juice. I'm gonna add some yogurt so we can thin it down a little bit and make kind of a crema. Probably should add one more spoon because I'm gonna need to add some more of this. I want something a little runny still, maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm not gonna need to add too much to it. Because we only are making a few tacos at the moment, so I don't need a whole lot. And we got a nice orange flavor to it without having too much orange, so it doesn't really taste like a creamsicle. It just gives it a little bit of a lift. And now, pineapple does tend to go in tacos, but it's usually pork tacos. But I think because we started with this yuzu base, that I think we can get away with doing a little bit of a pineapple garnish. So I'm gonna take some canned pineapple, drain it as well as I can real quick. And again, we're only making a couple of tacos, so I don't need a whole lot. And I'm gonna take a little bit of the salsa and reinforce the flavors that we had in the taco. Let's see. I think that could use a little more, but not too much because I don't want to overpower the pineapple. Okay, so we've got our meat, we've got our garnish, we've got our crema, and I think we're ready to pull out our tomato and our lettuce and our cheese and assemble our tacos. So now we've got a sample plate of tacos and we're gonna eat those here in a second. But in the meantime, I got to figure out what to do with the rest of the taco meat, which is still over here in the skillet. We have a good amount of it. And I'm pretty much out of 1 cup containers. We did some other planning for our friends to have soup. So I'm just going to use snack size Ziplocs. And this should be enough for 2 to 3 tacos per person if they defrost 1 snack size bag, or if they wind up in the fridge, they'll just be able to dump it out onto a plate and then microwave that.
So once we heat the cast iron skillet, we get some oil in it. And when it starts to smoke, as you can see, then you sear off the edges of your steak first. Help keep some of those juices in. A nice hot oil is going to really help seal that down. And then drop them in. And the second one, yeah, it starts to look pretty good. Side is all seared off. And this is just about perfect for the 2 steaks. Fit in the pan. And we're going to let those cook a bit before turning them. And then we'll pop in the oven to finish off when we're done.
So here's our steak, nice and out of the oven. You can see how hot it still is. It needs to rest. If you cut it before it gets a chance to redistribute all the juices inside, it's going to get really dry. There's a lot of spice in the air right now, but this looks amazing and it smells amazing. In the meantime, I'm going to do some of these potatoes. So I put some butter in them. I'm going to take the rest of that cheese. This was mozzarella because that was what I happen to have on hand that was in the fridge. I'm going to add some crema. And I didn't use this earlier with the crema that we made because you can curdle that really easily with citrus. So I'm just going to give this a little liquidy so that we got something to work with here. And then if I can have a spoon, I'm going to add in a little bit of chili oil. I'm sorry, garlic oil. Garlic oil. Look at that. Look how luscious that is. Not too much, but we do want some garlic pieces in it. And I'm going to mash that. Just going to add a little bit of salt here. Not a whole lot. And some black pepper. And we'll see what we get when I get this all mixed up and adjust the seasonings at that point. I happen to have this leftover container of caramelized onions and some red and yellow bell peppers, and I thought that would give a nice pop of color to the plate. And Jake was thinking color too, so he went and got some chives from outside that we're growing, and he's gonna pop those on top of the potatoes. I did wind up putting a little more butter in there, but there was plenty of garlic, and I added a little extra salt because it just seemed a little bland. So let's go ahead and add those chives. And we let the steak rest long enough. This is ready to eat. So as far as storing this, you don't freeze potatoes, so this has to go in the fridge. I think I'm just going to put it in a smaller container. These, however, if we don't eat them tomorrow, I think I'm going to put them into individual servings and put them in the freezer as well. Because, like I said, they make a really nice side dish that pops. So it should be easy to just pull out and go with. But what do you think? I think all three dishes really used the products that we were given in a way that highlighted what those products were made out of and the fusion nature of what we've been given.
Yeah, they came out pretty good. I ate all of it, and we had a few other things we made as well, but yeah, just the odds and ends to use up what was left over.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again for the box.